guys, it's Anissa. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are doing another review. Yes, I know. Guys, I'm doing these because it gives me every reason in the world to buy more makeup, so let me be. Today, we are going to be focusing on reviewing this new Morphe Soft Focus Foundation. If you're interested to see my thoughts, if I think you guys should buy it, if it's worth the money, all of that good information, then please keep on watching. But before you go any further, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. I post on this channel every 4 days, so you never have to miss me for too long. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. All right, guys, it is day one, so we're just gonna go ahead and jump on in. For today's primer, I am going to be using one of my favorites of all time. This is the NYX Pore Filler, and this is the travel size. I'm not going to color correct or anything today because I just want to see how this foundation does, like, completely on its own. Today we are going to be testing out the Morphe Filter Effect Soft Focus Foundation, and I just got the color Filter Rich 25. Packaging is really, really nice, and it claims to have a medium to full coverage. It comes with a pump, which we love. It retails for $20 and it comes in 40 shades. The ranges, I'll say it's all right. As far as the undertones go, I know that this one is already going to be a little bit lighter than me, and this actually has a pink undertone. We'll see what it looks like when I completely put it all over my face. I pumped it out and it didn't look like it had a super pink undertone. I'm trying to kind of stay away from really warm yellow undertones because they make me look very, very orange. Sometimes, it just depends. It looks like a lot of these shades, especially like on the darker end of the spectrum, are already sold out online. I was trying to look for something that had like a neutral undertone that was around this shade. I could not find anything. Like the shade above this, it's significantly lighter. I wish that they would fill in a couple gaps and give a few more undertones in between those gaps. Oil-free and skincare infused. And it says it delivers a natural finish. I figured that it would be soft matte because it says soft focus. I don't know. Claims to be long wearing, and it's designed to blur and diffuse imperfections while hydrating and nourishing the skin. It's supposed to be sweat proof, transfer proof, and waterproof, and it's supposed to last up to 12 hours. Hyaluronic acid, pore blurring pigments. Another thing I wanted to start doing in my reviews is if the product comes out with a tool, use it. And the brush was actually free if you bought this. If you guys have an Ulta and you're interested in buying this, I'm pretty sure it's only in store if you do want to get your hands on this, if it's even good, so we'll see. This is a lot smaller of a foundation brush than I would usually go for. On this channel, we always do half brush, half beauty sponge, so we will be using this brush today, and this is the Morphe E63. And I have this little tray, guys. Isn't this so cute? That I have been pumping my like foundation and stuff on. That way I don't have to put it on my hand, because some foundation is so hard to get off the back of your hand. This does look a little bit lighter. It looks like a pretty good match, and I told you guys I've been having a identity crisis as far as my undertone goes, because like some brands match me really well and they claim to have like a pink undertone, and then other brands match me really well and they claim to have a yellow undertone or a neutral undertone. The brush really is not bad. I figured that I was not going to like it. I'm really shocked that I like this as much as I do. I also am surprised that I like it because it's not really dense, and I like a really dense brush when I put on my foundation. It's the same as powder as it is with liquid. The denser your brush is, the more coverage you're gonna get. So that was about one pump. It is very dewy. I'm gonna do like half a pump, see if it's buildable, which it looks to be. I really wish that they would change the name of it though, because did anybody else get thrown off by that, or was I the only one? Yep, it definitely does have a natural finish. You guys can see that. I don't think it's going to dry down any more than it is right now, but it does look pretty on the skin. It does have a little bit of coverage. My face is like freaking out right now, so I have a lot of texture, so I'm trying to ignore that. For as much as my face is breaking out, this foundation really does look good, and I tend to find that it will look even better once you set it with powder products. It's not making my texture look any worse than it does on its own. I don't expect a foundation to get rid of my texture. As far as this brush, I really like it, and it looks like most of the product actually got distributed onto my face. That is a downside with the sponge. The sponge is going to absorb some of your product, obviously. When I say that this brush is necessary with this foundation, I mean, I don't think so, but would I recommend you guys buying it as of right now? Yeah. I'm just going to be using one of my favorites. This is the e.l.f. Complexion Trio Sponge. Well, that instantly got rid of my redness. I'm very red, which I have never had an issue with. The coverage on this side though definitely is lighter with one pump than this side is, like significantly lighter. That's just a preference thing, and that's why I think it's so important to test both sides, because sometimes with foundations, using a brush or a sponge really doesn't make much of a difference, but sometimes, I mean, it can make all the world's difference when it comes to coverage. So I'm gonna do another full pump on this side of the face just because the coverage is lighter. I did a pump and a half on this side, 2 pumps on this side. And this side is also buildable. But I think for the first time ever, guys, I think I'm going to say that I prefer the brush side over the sponge side just because it does give a little bit more coverage, and I'm struggling right now. Now that I say something, I can still see like a teeny tiny bit of my redness. Would I call this foundation full coverage? No. I think to get full coverage, you'd have to do like close to 3 to 4 layers. That's when you start looking very cakey. I never go over 2, so I would say that this is medium coverage, not full. One of my favorite concealers as of recently is the Morphe Fluidity concealer, and that I'm in the color C3.55. The coverage on this stuff is amazing, so I want to see, just applying this, how the two look together. This stuff is so good and it's so underrated. I don't hear enough people talk about it, and the shade range on the concealer is actually pretty decent, I believe. It just blends out so easily, yet it still has coverage. Okay, well, since I am only doing a foundation review, I think I will show you guys my full face for the first day. And then after that, I'll probably just show you guys like foundation, concealer, powder, and then call it a day. But today I'll show you guys everything. To set underneath the eyes, I'm just going to be using the Laura Mercier translucent powder, and this is in the color Honey. And I'm also not wearing eyeshadow today, A, because I don't feel like it, but B, I also want to see how the foundation lashes on my eyelids, because I know not all of you wear eyeshadow every single day, and neither do I, if we're going to be honest. For translucent powder, I'm just going to be using this Coconut CIATÉ London Everyday Vacay Setting Powder. I want to see how truly transfer proof this is, because if you think about it, this has no color. So if there's color on my mask, it's because the foundation is not transfer proof. I'm really not the biggest fan of coconut, but when I put this stuff on my face, it makes me feel like I'm on vacation for about 2.5 seconds until I open my eyes and realize that I'm still in my room. I'm just gonna use this blush in Raizin by MAC. This is one of my all-time favorites. I will continue to repurchase this stuff over and over and over again. This is the NYX Bear With Me Prime, Set, and Refresh Multitasking Spray. It's a great setting spray. It just helps everything melt together on your face. I thought about using a mattifying setting spray. I want to see how long the foundation looks good for on its own, since it does tend to be long wearing and oil proof, sweat proof, all that stuff. My pores actually look pretty decent around my nose, so this is usually where they're the biggest. And I can still see my texture and everything, but I'm trying to kind of let that go because I know it's not the foundation's fault. I'm just using this Glossier Balm DOTCOM. This is what we are looking like right now. Does not look bad at all. I actually think it looks really pretty, especially since it is a little bit more of a light makeup per se. Right now it is 7:52 a.m. I will see you guys at the end of the day. It is currently almost 2 o'clock, so it's only been about 7 hours. I'm gonna put up pictures. I did not wear my mask for that long because if you guys have watched on my channel before, you know I'm a home health aide, so I work with older people, but I actually did the front desk today and I sit up there by myself and I don't really even do anything. I'm just there to answer the phone. And it did have a little bit of makeup on it. I'm really curious to see when we wear it for 12 hours how much is gonna be on there. It doesn't look bad. My makeup did, which this is weird because my mask doesn't touch like this part of my nose, but you can see the redness around my nose. My pores are definitely a lot bigger, especially in here. I can see my shine starting to peek through. My cheeks still look good. My whole face is breaking out, so I'm trying to kind of leave that alone. I'm trying to see if it accentuated that texture. It didn't accentuate my texture on my cheeks, but right through here, it does look worse than it did when I first put the makeup on, and even in between my eyebrows. But my eyelids do look a little bit oily. I have creases in my eyes, as you guys can see. So where those creases are, inside the crease is oily, but other than that, they're not. I have a lot of facial expressions, and I've never noticed this with a foundation, but it did kind of set into those lines. I'm keeping in mind that it is a natural foundation. I'm just a little bit weary about the whole 12-hour thing. But I will say, for me to be wearing this makeup for 7 hours, it does look decent. So for me to not have anything else mattifying on except for that powder, the loose powder, this doesn't look awful. I like the formula. It doesn't feel real heavy on my face. The only place that it feels heavy is right in here around my nose. It's average. It's not something amazing like the NARS Soft Matte, which you guys know I fell in love with when I tried, but it's not awful like the Huda Beauty foundation stick. As of right now, is this something that I could see myself using again? Yes. Would I pair it with some other mattifying products because that's what I usually tend to go for? Yes. The only thing I would like knock points off for is the fact that it claims to be 12 hours, and I can kind of, I know it's not, I'm not at 12 hours, but from the way that it looks at 8, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10 because longevity, and it also is not transfer proof. I will see you guys on day 2. All right guys, it is day 2. I went ahead and actually did some eye makeup today and my eyebrows. I'm going to be working today, so we're gonna do a 12-hour wear test today and then a 12-hour wear test tomorrow. I decided that today I actually wanna go ahead and use the NYX Pore Filler again. That way I can see how it compares day 1. I may use a mattifying primer tomorrow to see if that does help with the longevity, because I do realize that the foundation does not claim to be mattifying, but I do tend to find, like most of the time, foundations that do have a matte finish just tend to last longer on the skin, because when it's matte, it almost goes from liquid to powder on your face. You have to kind of think of it as that way, versus where if you're using just like a natural foundation or a more glowy foundation, it doesn't change forms. It just stays a liquid and sits on your skin. I wanna see if it helps with, not as far as mattifying goes, because that's not a claim that it has. Let me make that clear. I wanna see if it helps with the longevity. I'm just gonna use this brush because I really do love the way that it looked. Something that scares me about brushes that aren't denser is they tend to leave those marks and streaks on your face. I filmed day 1 2 days ago, and my skin, I wanted to give it a day to kind of chill out, and it seems to not be doing any much better. I did a face mask yesterday too in hopes that that would kind of help, but my skin is kind of just freaking out. So I've kind of accepted that fact. I can still see a little bit of my redness peeking through, and you can still definitely see some of my marks peeking through, but this side of my face definitely looks a lot better than this side of my face. I wonder how this brush is going to do with other foundations. For my skin to be as problematic as it is right now, this really is not doing bad. I'm gonna put on one more pump my whole face because I do wanna see how this lasts, since it's buildable, and if it's gonna get like cakey or anything. Yeah, my camera kind of hides some of my breakouts, but like, look. Yeah, my face has never been this bad. Now I'm just gonna use this CoverGirl True Blend Concealer. This is in the color T700 Caramel. I'm using all the same products as yesterday because I want to see if there is a difference in wear completely. And I feel like I couldn't do that if I changed some of the products. I changed my concealer because I feel like it really doesn't have much to do with the foundation. I am going to finish my face and then I will be back. I've mentioned a million times that my face is really breaking out, but the reason that I'm pretty confident that I know the makeup is not making it look any worse is because my forehead is actually pretty clear and it looks good. My pores are looking a little bit questionable today versus yesterday. Main things I want to focus on today are the wear of it and how long it takes for my oils to kind of start peeking through and everything. It doesn't necessarily claim to be mattifying, but it does claim to be like sweat proof. It does claim to be transfer proof. We're gonna see if it does tend to hang on to these, you know, breakouts on my face weird, because you can't expect foundation to get rid of your breakouts. I mean, it's just gonna go right over them and you kind of have to deal with that. But if it makes it look worse or accentuated, that's a completely different story. We're gonna see as far as that goes that this is something that I would recommend for long wear, especially if you have oilier skin. I will see you guys after work. Hi. Okay, it is currently 10:30, so it's been about 11 hours. Where do we begin? I first want to start off by saying I look awful. And it's not just because of my acne, honey. I look gray. All of my makeup
is gone right here. My texture is accentuated central. I don't even think that pimple was there 11 hours ago. I look gray, and you're gonna be even more shook when I show you these pictures that I took. So in the beginning, we looked lovely. We looked fabulous. We were winning. I looked amazing. And honestly, I got so busy at work today and so preoccupied that I didn't even take pictures until 7 o'clock. So these are my pictures from 7 o'clock. And I will tell you, the makeup does feel lightweight, but I think it feels so lightweight because it was rubbing off of my face right there. I have absolutely no makeup left on my face. I have none on my nose. This is what my mask looks like. This is definitely not transfer proof. It makes me look like not only do I have a mustache, but I look ashy. And I swear to you, when I put this makeup on, it did not look that bad. The shade above the one that I got was way too dark and it wasn't the right undertone. And the one right below me was way too light. So that's another thing I really like about especially like the NARS Soft Matte and the Fenty foundations. They not only have so many colors, but even if like say you know that you're pretty close to this color, but you just need like one up, that color one up or something close to it is gonna be your undertone, versus with this foundation, that wasn't the case. And this was a pink undertone and it's looking gray. My eye makeup still looks really good, but everything else is a hot mess. I'm very glad that I took a picture with flash. Nobody wants to look like that. And that was at exactly 8 hours. My thing right now is I have foundations that I know that I can wear for 8 hours that will look better than this. Is this a foundation that you wanna go for as far as like longevity goes? No. $20, that's like very, very high drugstore, low end, high end. And I just have foundations that do better, that are a natural finish. I think once you get past a certain bracket, you might as well just pay for something better. This patch on my cheek is really bothering me because I have never ever in my life seen anything like this. The oils definitely broke through right in here. Right through here is looking okay. I have never noticed the lines on my forehead until I started wearing this. I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Good morning. It is day 3 now, and I know I mentioned yesterday that I wanted to use a different primer to see if it would make the makeup last a little bit longer. So I'm just going to be using this e.l.f. Matte Putty Primer. I'm gonna take a picture right after this if the flashback as bad as it was yesterday in the beginning, or if it just kind of like developed, I don't know. I'm gonna use a different brush today just because I've already used that Morphe brush 2 times. I found the more that you use brushes, especially, it doesn't matter as much with powder products, but with liquid products, if you use the same brush over and over and over without washing it, it will affect the way that the makeup looks. I'm gonna start with 1 pump. It's not that bad of a match at all. If anything, it's actually pretty close to what I actually am. So it definitely yesterday darkened and oxidized and turned from this shade to gray. I'm wondering if I would have got a shade that was a little bit darker than I was, how much that would have oxidized. Just gonna do 1 more pump all over the face, exactly like I did yesterday. This is one of my favorite foundation brushes and it is applying a little bit weird. Like it's very, very streaky, especially with the second layer. See, not looking good. I'm gonna take this Morphe M439 and see if this will help blend everything out a little bit, especially in my problematic areas. I can still see the pink, and that's after 2 layers. I'm glad that I purchased that brush because it did make a big difference. The application a little bit weary and shaky. It does look better now that I use those brushes, but you can almost see all the redness on this side of my face. So I'm like, is this even medium coverage today? I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my face off camera and then I will be back. Okay, so I went ahead and finished my face, and I also took a photo, and I want to show you guys, like, I'm really not crazy when I say that this was not that bad of a match for me. So for the pictures last night to look like as horrific as they did, I feel as though this makeup is just sitting on top of my face. I feel like it's not all cohesive. This side of my face does look a lot better than this side. It's just making my acne look worse, and I've never really even had a foundation do that. It looks different. Not one of my favorites. It's currently 7. I started filming like 6:30. So I don't know if I'm gonna keep this makeup on for 12 hours, to be quite honest with you guys. I think the minute that it starts to look a mess or kind of start to fall apart, I'm gonna see how many hours it lasts. This is how we are starting, so I will see you guys when I'm ready to take it off. It is currently 5 o'clock, so I wore this makeup for 10 hours. I took my first picture at around 11 o'clock and it looks good from afar. I luckily took a video, and the only way that I can describe this to you guys, especially around my nose area, my nose looks so textured and the spots are like grayish blackish. It's so weird. I don't know if that's the makeup. I don't know if that's my skin. My skin isn't like that without makeup on. My cheeks look horrendous. I decided to test if it was sweat proof. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the footage in from that. All right guys, we are on our 8 of wear, but I just want to kind of give you guys like a before. I was hesitating if I wanted to keep my makeup on while I worked out, but I was like, this claims to be sweat proof, so let's see what she can do. We're not looking very good, which I'm sure I've already told you guys by now, so we're just gonna see how bad this can get. Okay, post at workout, I'm just gonna tell you guys right now, there's no makeup left. Like that lighter part, that's my skin. We are definitely not sweat proof. I'm just going to go over the claims that this foundation have. Natural finish, yes, definitely does have a natural finish. Long wearing formula, no. If you are depending on your makeup to look good, I would not wear it for more than 5 hours max. And especially with the mask on, I'm wondering if it would be a little bit longer without the mask. Blurring, I would say no on that one. Sweat proof, no. Transfer proof, no. I'm not sure about waterproof. When I think of medium coverage foundation, you can see your marks, but you can't see like everything. And with this foundation, even after building it, I could still see the redness and stuff on my face, and I'm kind of glad that I did have a little bit of a flare up while doing this. Also think that they could definitely do a lot better on the shade range. Even though there are 40 shades, they just do a lot of hopping and skipping, and they miss a lot of shades within the shades that they have. If you are somebody that is looking for long wearing foundation, if you wear your makeup all day, if your skin is a little bit more oily like mine, and if you depend on it to look pretty matte throughout the day, I would not recommend this. The packaging is really nice. It feels really nice and heavy. I really do like the brush that it came with, although another thing I don't like about this is my foundation brushes that I have are amazing. Like, that's not even me being like, oh my gosh, they're so great. No, I mean, I've never had a foundation not work with any of the brushes that I have. So for this one to be really streaky and stuff, I'm gonna blame it on this. Would I repurchase? No. Would I use this off camera, and do I plan to use this in the future? No, it's not something I'm excited to grab for. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I love doing these videos for you, and this just goes to show why it is so important to test a product for multiple days. I love doing full face of first impressions. They are my favorite thing in the whole entire world, but sometimes you can't tell everything that you need to know from a product from the first try. If you guys have any products that you would specifically like to see me review, please let me know down in the comments, and I will be so happy to do that for you guys. And if you have any video recommendations, please let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in a few days. Bye.